Butternut squash cheddar cheese pasta. Welcome to Rain's Kitchen and Garden. My name is Rain. It's harvest time, my friends, and the veggies are aplenty. I picked up a few butternut squashes at the local market last weekend, and I'm going to show you how I make this delicious and comforting butternut squash cheddar cheese sauce that you can pour over your favorite pasta. It's quick and it's easy. Here are the ingredients that you'll need for my butternut squash cheddar cheese pasta sauce. You're going to need 2 tablespoons of butter, that's 50 grams, and I use unsalted butter. I have 3 cloves of garlic, this is my homegrown garlic, and I've chopped it up. You're also going to need a small butternut squash. The one that I'm showing you now is 3 pounds. It's rather a large squash. And when I chopped it up, it came to 1.5 pounds or 1,700 grams. You can use a splash of white wine, that is completely optional. I have 1.5 cups or 375 milliliters of chicken stock, 2 cups or 500 milliliters of milk, I'm using 2%. And you're going to need some cheddar cheese. I have 8 ounces here or 225 grams. Now, it would be best if you could shred your cheddar cheese, but I buy my cheese once a month at Costco and I stick it into the freezer as soon as I get it. And when you have frozen cheddar cheese and you defrost it, it no longer slices, it no longer shreds, it just crumbles. As long as it's in little pieces, that's going to work. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to melt our butter in a large pan. I've got it on medium-low heat, and I'm going to wait for that to melt. My butter is melted and it's sizzling, so I'm going to add the garlic. And I'm just going to saute my garlic for about a minute. Put my timer on there. And really watch your garlic because depending on how hot your pan is, it could burn really quickly. If you start to see that your garlic is becoming a little brown, take it off the heat immediately. We just want it sauteed. We don't want it burned. I would say stir constantly. Oh, it smells good. Making me think of garlic bread right now. You could always use oil in place of butter if you'd like. Olive oil. All right, my timer is about to go off. There we go, it's been a minute. I'm going to add my butternut squash. There we go. Going to give that a little toss. I'm going to turn the heat up to medium-high now. Add my little splash of white wine. And my chicken broth. So I will turn up my burner to high because I want to bring that to a boil. And as soon as it hits a boil, we're going to turn it down to a simmer and cover it. So let's let that get up to a boil. So we've got a boil going right now. I'm going to cover that and turn it down so that it will simmer for about 20 minutes. So I'm going to turn that down a little bit. And I'm going to stir occasionally. Basically, we want our squash to be fork tender. So let's give it about 20 minutes on a simmer. Well, my friends, it's been about 17 minutes. So oh, this is hot. I'm going to check to see if my squash is fork tender. It's definitely fork tender because it mashes easily with a fork. And I'm going to check the bigger pieces too, just to make sure. Oh yes, this is definitely ready. So I don't need to simmer it any longer. What I'm going to do is take it off the heat, and I'm going to let it cool for about 20 minutes because I'm going to be putting it in my blender and I don't want it hot when it's in the blender. So it's going to cool for 20 minutes. My squash mixture is nice and cool now, so I'm going to put it into the blender and I'm going to add the milk and I'm going to pulse the whole mixture until it's nice and smooth. And I have my pasta going on the stove, so I'm going to be all ready to go when the sauce is ready. So I've got everything into the blender, and don't wash your pan yet because we're going to put all this back into the pan and we're going to add the cheese so it'll melt really well. So I'm going to pulse this now until it's nice and smooth. It's not going to take long because everything is so well cooked. And now what I'm going to do is put it on just low to get it nice and smooth. Now I'm going to pour my butternut squash mixture back into my pan, and I'm going to turn this up to a medium-high heat because I want it to get really hot again, because we're going to melt the cheese in there, so it needs to be hot for the cheese to be melted. My sauce has heated up very well. It really looks like a cheese sauce. Actually, every time that I chop up butternut squash, it always reminds me of cheddar cheese. So I'm going to add my cheese a little bit at a time until it melts. Now remember, I have this on medium high. It's actually on my oven, not my oven, my stove. There's a minimum and a maximum, and I have numbers 2 to 8, and I have it on number 6, if that tells you anything. It's a large burner, but my stove is very old. It doesn't heat very well. So I guess it's the equivalent of medium-high heat, because every time you add the cheese, it cools down the sauce a little bit. That's why you want to add it a little bit at a time. And it's starting to boil, so I'm going to turn it way down to number 4, which might be the equivalent of medium lowish heat, because I don't want my sauce to burn. There's milk in this, now there's cheese, so have you ever burned milk? You know what that smells like. We don't want that in our pasta. Now I'm going to show you a picture here of the pasta that I'm using. It's called capellini. It's basically a very, very thin, almost an angel hair pasta. That's my favorite pasta, and that's what I'm going to be putting my sauce on today. But you could definitely make this into a mac and cheese, and if you wanted to, you could put it into a big oven-proof container, or sorry, I'm multitasking. There we go. You could put it into a big oven-proof dish. Oh, a dish is the word I was looking for. And you could put some buttered breadcrumbs on top and a little more cheddar cheese and put it under the broiler. And oh, that would be really, really good. This makes a lot of sauce, my friends. This is probably good for 4 to 6 people, or maybe even 8 people, depending on how much sauce you want. Now, if you find that the sauce is too thin for you, add more cheddar cheese. If you find that the sauce is too thick for you, you could add more broth, or you could add some of the pasta water. For me, this is a little bit thin, so I'm going to add a little bit more cheddar cheese. So I'm going to add a little bit more cheddar, just to thicken it up a little bit. And I always say, you know, when you follow recipes, whether they're from a cookbook or something that you find online, it's so subjective, my friends. It's so subjective. I mean, you know, I'm using 2% milk. Maybe you will be using 3.25% milk, so your sauce will be thicker. Maybe your squash is a little bit bigger. You know, maybe your garlic pieces aren't as strong as mine. Maybe you don't add the wine. It's just very subjective. So what you need to do is taste as you go and make it the way you like it. Take the basic recipe and then make it the way you like it. You know, I like my stuff really cheesy. I don't like salt in my food, so I never salt my food. So, you know, some people have told me that my recipes are a little bland, but you know what? They're not bland for me. They might be bland for you, but if they are, just add some salt. That's all, no big deal. But make it the way you like it. So I'm just waiting to see if all of my cheese has melted, and then I'm gonna get ready to eat. I'm so excited. Doesn't that look so tasty? The sauce is creamy and cheesy. The cheddar flavor goes so well with the squash flavor. It's a perfect autumn dinner. I hope you enjoyed this video today, and if you did, please give it a like and please do subscribe. If you don't want to miss out on future videos, don't forget to hit the notification bell for more home cooking, and don't forget to leave me a comment. I love your comments and I reply to all of them. And please share this video with anyone you might think will enjoy it. Thanks again for watching, my friends, and I'll see you next time on Rain's Kitchen and Garden. Bye!